Hello, I'm Kacie Olson. This is Module 7, Why We All Must Become Responsible Digital Citizens. I added that in because I believe in this day and age, we are already digital citizens. With the pandemic, it kind of forced us to become that. However, being a responsible one is very different than just being one. So let's dig in. To help me organize kind of my thinking, I aligned it into this protocol of the here's what, so what, now what, because there's a lot of information that came in and I needed a way to kind of organize it and synthesize it. So here's what I learned about digital citizenship. First, it's important to start with a concept. So we have this concept of digital citizenship, but we need to define it. We need to give it some context. So what is digital citizenship? According to Zook, has this definition here on what it means to become a digital citizen. So referring, of course, as you can see, to, of course, any digital platform, many varieties, of course, now, and many more will come out in our lifetime, of course. But the word citizenship really rung true when it said engaging with society. So just like being a normal citizen, that's the same thing translating to digital citizenship. You're engaging with society through a digital platform. Okay, so now that we've kind of given it some parameters, my next wondering, and there's a lot of information on why do we need to teach digital citizenship? Why is this concept important to us as educators? And the Harney Education Service District really outlined the law very clearly, and I liked this graphic they used to put it all in one place. So you can see digital citizenship shows up in 3 areas. So the Child Internet Protection Act, Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and of course, FERPA, the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. So 3 different areas of the law, digital citizenship is seen there and needs to be attended to. Again, digging in a little bit deeper into this law here. So Safety and Federal Act. So if we dig in again, this is really kind of zooming in on that Children's Internet Protection Act. And as you can see, it addresses concerns about their access to obscene or harmful content over the internet. So it's really our ethical obligation to put as many safety measures in place as we can to prevent these incidences from occurring and to protect our students. So within the law, there's also this opportunity to be eligible for an E-rate program, and it gives schools a discount and access to some resources that they might need as long as there's these certain safety measures in place. And this program, while this is just a little excerpt from it, it really outlines all of what those safety measures are. And so it really is twofold. One, yes, it does allow you, if you put them in place, to have access to these things at a discounted rate, which is great for our resources, but it also is a good parameters of what do I need to be attending to? What do I need to be thinking about in putting responsible digital citizenship and protection in place for our students? And so again, that connects to the law. So it is our responsibility. We are held to the law to put these safety measures in place. And I appreciated what Nina said in this article, moving beyond just the law, just beyond compliance, because that's really the bare minimum. So we also need to know as educators why this is important. And so she really outlined the future state here of our students. So technology and education, job searching, employment, navigation, all of these things that our children and students are going to be needing to navigate, we need to equip them for that. And she goes on then to say, it again equips students with those knowledge, skills, and resources to succeed as lifetime learners. And goodness, if that isn't our ultimate goal as educators, to have students succeed as lifelong learners, then I'm not sure what is. And being positive, responsible digital citizenship is now embedded in that. It's no longer separated and a siloed effort. Okay, so now we understand what it is, and we now definitely have some motivation and drive onto why we need to be attending to this. So our next logical question might be, how? How do we go about this? It's very complex. There's a lot to think about, and these articles provided several different resources on this. One I appreciated from Common Sense Education, this graphic with 8 different kind of lenses for us to consider to really kind of look at this holistically and all of the different areas that contribute. I know myself, when I think about digital citizenship, just at first blush, a few of these came to mind. But as I dug into it deeper, I thought, oh, wow, there's more to it that I even need to attend to. And so this gives us kind of a holistic view. As well, another resource to go to is from Ribble, and it's his REAP approach. And I really liked this as kind of an umbrella, and it made me think of that saying, you reap what you sow, right? So if we attend to this REAP, then we will sow positive results is the goal. So the R is respect for yourself and others, which attends to etiquette, access, and the law. And then the E is educating yourself and others. So I would go this for all educators. We need to be educated ourselves, and then we need to pass that learning on to others. And that's really becoming digital literate. We need to become literate in our digital society. The communication we use and commerce, it's become a whole society on commerce. We need to understand that and what data is being passed, which leads into the P of protection ourselves and others. So what are our rights and responsibilities? Do we even know what those are? Security, health, and wellness. And so if that's the umbrella, there were two resources that I thought really kind of gave an outline and dug into it really deep, which was fantastic. And so from these two resources, you can see there's a lot of overlap. So you pick one, you're gonna be fine either way. But I did want to highlight a couple of these specific concepts to dig in deeper, because there was a big overlap, and a lot of the articles, of course, attended to these things: privacy, security, online safety, and that digital footprint. And so this was something that I was very curious about myself, just for my own learning. And then what do we need to be mindful of with our students? And so safety, of course, is a big one that comes to mind, but we don't always think about our digital footprint and the data that we're actually giving out. And so we often think of threats and things like that, which is so important, but we also need to think about what trail are we leaving behind that is our right to privacy within that. And so I agree with this first statement here where it says, user data is one of the most complex and concerning concepts in the digital age. And so knowing about that footprint, Zoe had some great resources about that, and just really what are people tracking and why, and what can I do to prevent some of those things? Okay, so that's a lot of information. And so as I synthesize all of that, I was kind of thinking about what conclusions I might draw as an instructional leader trying to navigate all this. And I would say that I'm maybe not alone. I know I'm not alone with some of the educators that I work with. My first thought was like, oh my, this is a lot, right? Wouldn't it just be easier to avoid technology altogether, right? Can't I just have a successful classroom and learning experience without technology? And it would just be easier. And I would say, as I explored that, because that, it definitely comes up, there are some short-term benefits to that for sure, easier being one of them. But the long-term implications are just not valid. And according to the law, that's not something we can do anyway. So we have to move past this. And I know I work with several educators that we're going to have to figure out a way to do better within this, or just to try, right? And we can do our best. That's all we can ask. And I like this article. This will be something that I'll refer to when I run into educators that are really kind of stuck, again, because I've been there too. But it's important for them, students need to learn. And I love this line right here where it says, it is our job as educators to create learning environments that allow our students to succeed and prepare them for the future, right? We wouldn't want to avoid math if we didn't know how to do that. We would create an environment where they could be successful, even successful to try it and fail and be okay with that. And, we also wouldn't prevent our students from interacting with one another socially if they were shy, right? We create safety and learning environments that makes them feel safe, and we scaffold it. And so it's the same thing with digital citizenship. And we as educators need to be comfortable with that first and understand it first before we can embed it in everything we do. So now we know we can't avoid it. We know what it is. We know what we need to attend to. Where do we start? Kind of what do we need to think about? What's our role as instructional leaders? And in the article Joseph wrote here, says that we must make teachers and students aware of safety concerns, because awareness is a first step to shifting behaviors and educating them, of course, and then empower them with strategies for good digital citizenship, right? I think that's really the heart of it. It goes back to good education, right? We make them aware, and then we empower by giving them strategies to be successful. And to continue on this thinking, I, Safe, kind of gave, again, some lenses, I would say, for instructional leaders or building leadership teams to kind of attend to. Here are some things that you can kind of think about. Here are some things behind the scenes that you can maybe put into place just to help navigate this work a little bit more. So that way there's a lot of resources out there. You're not building this from scratch and you don't have to be alone in this process. Okay, so the standard is here. And as I do a little reflection on that, you can see definitely a lot of correlation to what we were asked to do, definitely to prepare us to teach the curriculum and embed it in the instruction. Relevance, yeah, I mean, you can read what I wrote, but understanding this why was really relevant to me, especially after the pandemic. Like, we're all about digital citizenship, and creating and embedding responsible digital citizens is something that we're still trying to navigate, because I think as us as adults, we're still trying to figure that out. And then in my reflection, for me, the biggest takeaway was about the law. That's something that I just want to learn more about. I'm kind of trying to navigate that and better build my capacity in what the law says and doesn't say. And so that way I can use that as a third point reference when I get into a leadership role. And here are, I'll move my screen. Here are the references that I used for this presentation. A lot of good resources that I will be referring back to. So thank you all for your time, and I enjoyed, I